And joining us now is Eric Mandel, the founder and director of Middle East Political Information Network, to give us some more insight here. I mean, how unusual is it for a president to see nominees tanked by members of their own party, especially in such rapid succession?
Well, first of all, it does happen, but it's not 100%. There's been other problematic nominees recently. Bill White, who is recently approved to be ambassador to Belgium, he was basically was endorsing on social media a convicted Belgian Holocaust denier, but that still got him through the Foreign Relations Committee and will become the ambassador. So it's not 100%. You really have to go unbelievably egregious. And so let's look at why these Republican senators, I work in the Senate, and the Foreign Relations Committee is upset about this and why they're doing the right thing here. Number one, this man, this is maybe a political payback because he was in an all-Muslim city. The government was all Muslim, and he endorsed President Trump. And so there's some, thanks to him for doing that, helping swing the state, which was instrumental in the Trump victory for the presidential election. So the problems are he doesn't support the president's policies in the Middle East, specifically regarding Israel. And specifically, he thinks, like Senator Cruz, who's one of the people who's come out most vehemently against it. Senator Cruz wants there to be restrictions on the Muslim Brotherhood, but this guy has called it, quote unquote, the Muslim Brotherhood is an inspiration. And the statements regarding October 7th, he justified October 7th. He refused to condemn the atrocities. He denied Hamas carrying out the sexual attacks. He is pro-BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanctions, which is anti-Semitism by definition. He called Saddam Hussein a martyr. He compared Jews to monkeys. So this is not, one mistake and he apologized.
What message does this send about the political sensitivity around Israel right now, particularly within the GOP?
The sensitivity is bipartisan. It is certainly more in the Democratic Party, where you can have conversations that are anti-Semitic actually being discussed from the push from the anti-Israel / anti-Semitic left wing. On the right, it is not so bad, but there are some real problems. The big problems, people who have influence, the Tucker Carlsons, the Candace Owens. And then you have other people like Megyn Kelly's another well-known person who refuses to condemn the anti-Semitism that the Tucker Carlsons and Candace Owens say, because they're her friends. That should never fly. I mean, you think back in America, we had somebody named William Buckley, the father of really conservative thought, and he specifically called out Pat Buchanan, a fellow conservative traveler, for his anti-Semitism, taking a principled position. So there is a problem in the right. It has to be identified. But the fact that the Republican senators, specifically Senators Cornyn from Texas, Senator Cruz, Senator McCormick, and there are a couple of others who have already spoken up, Senator Curtis from Utah, is a very good sign that you can't separate anti-Zionism from the anti-Semitism. And so I think it's a very, very good message. By the way, this is one of the few places Democrats and Republicans agreed. They both were against this nomination.
All right. If Ghalib's nomination collapses, which it seems like that is what's about to happen here, what does this really mean for U.S. diplomacy in Kuwait and Trump's broader approach to staffing key foreign posts? Give us a quick answer on this one.
Well, the quick answer is Kuwait is incredibly important. Despite there was a rift many years ago during the Gulf War where Arafat supported Saddam Hussein and they kicked out the Palestinians, Kuwait is very pro-Palestinian. And this goes against President Trump's agenda of bringing in the Gulf states for normalization. Kuwait's going to be a hard one. But I think this is a very good message that America is not just transactional. It will take candidates for ambassadorships or anything who are anti-Semitic and say no.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us with your insight. We're going to have to wait and see how this plays out, of course.